We are GB News.
I'm Liam Halligan. Join me every weekday at 1 p.m. for On the Money, your daily dose of economics, business and consumer news. I've got 25 years experience covering economics and finance. We hold grown-up discussions with a host of experts who really know their stuff. We can't buy gas and store it. That was a mistake, wasn't it?
I think it was a mistake.
Even you, Liam, don't have a crystal ball.
Inflation's a real threat.
Every weekday at 1, you're On the Money.
I'm Darren McCaffrey and join me on The Briefing Monday to Thursday at 3 p.m. You'll get your afternoon fix of all the latest political stories, debate and analysis, as well as interviews with some of the biggest names in UK politics.
It's a problem that affects the whole world, Darren.
From Westminster to Cardiff, Edinburgh and Belfast, if it's happening in UK politics, we've got it covered. That's The Briefing with me, Darren McCaffrey, Monday to Thursday, 3 p.m. on GB News.
Join me, Gloria De Piero, Monday to Thursday at noon for The Briefing. We go to the parts of Parliament that you won't see elsewhere. Plus, there's exclusive interviews with MPs from all parties.
But quite often, they paper over the real truth. Why does a working class lad like you join the Tories?
That's a good question.
Don't miss it, Monday to Thursdays at noon on GB News.
On Mark Dolan tonight, we have a simple plan, which is to inform, stimulate and entertain in equal measure. It's all about getting your opinions on the national television airwaves. I love my viewer emails, mark@gbnews.uk. So do join me from 9 p.m. to midnight every Friday, Saturday and Sunday for big guests, big opinions and a big presenter. 6'5", don't you know? See you then on GB News.
Oh, that was lovely, wasn't it? Hello, good afternoon and welcome to GB News, the People's Channel. I'm Nana Akua. We are live on TV, online and on digital radio. And for the next 2 hours, me and my panel will be taking on some of the big topics that are hitting the headlines right now. This show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and of course it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. Joining me today, I'm doing it in a very nice sort of flowing voice because I like the music, it's lovely, isn't it? Joining me today is political editor at the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson, and also former Conservative advisor, Claire Pearsall. Before we get started, let's get your latest news headlines.
Thank you very much, Nana. Your latest top stories on GB News this hour. Buckingham Palace has confirmed Her Majesty the Queen will not attend the Epsom Derby tomorrow. She's expected to watch the event on television at Windsor Castle. Meanwhile, the Archbishop of York has thanked the Queen for staying the course during a service at St Paul's Cathedral. Members of the royal family, including Prince Charles and Camilla, were joined by dignitaries to honour the Queen and her 70-year reign. Prince William and Kate were also there, along with Prince Harry and Meghan, who appeared with the Windsors for the first time since moving to the United States. Her Majesty missed the event after experiencing some discomfort yesterday and watched the service on television from Windsor Castle. The Archbishop said the Queen was missed.
Your Majesty, we are sorry that you're not here with us this morning, but we are so glad that you are still in the saddle. And we are glad that there is still more to come.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister received a mixed reception on his arrival. Boris Johnson was jeered and cheered by crowds as he approached St Paul's Cathedral with his wife Carrie. It follows a turbulent time for the Prime Minister, who's facing calls to quit after Sue Gray's report into lockdown breaches at Downing Street. This onlooker explained why they booed.
I did this because I think the man has only been lying to the British public for the last 5 years, and him being here when we're remembering our Queen is inappropriate.
Leaders around the world have sent their best wishes to Her Majesty the Queen for the special occasion. Among them is North Korea's Kim Jong-un. In a message from Pyongyang, the reclusive leader extended his congratulations to Her Majesty and the British people for her 70 years on the throne. In other news today, UK intelligence shows Russia now controls more than 90% of Luhansk in eastern Ukraine. On the 100th day of the war, the Ministry of Defence is warning Moscow could have complete control of the region within the next fortnight. After abandoning its assault on the capital, Kyiv, Russian forces are now focusing on the east and south of the country. Officials in Luhansk say the number of weapons provided by the West are still not enough. In a statement released by Number 10, Boris Johnson reiterated the UK's support for Ukraine.
We will press on for as long as necessary, never wavering in our support for Ukraine until Putin's invasion has failed and Ukrainians enjoy the peace and the freedom that their heroism deserves.
At least 3 people have been killed in a train crash in southern Germany. 60 others have been injured, 16 of those severely, after a Munich-bound train came off the tracks near a ski resort. A major emergency services operation is still underway. The US president is urging Congress to ban assault weapons and expand background checks in the wake of another mass shooting. 4 people, including 2 doctors, were killed when a gunman opened fire at a hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma yesterday. Last week, a teenager shot dead 19 children and 2 teachers at a school in Uvalde in Texas. And during a racially motivated attack, 10 people were killed in Buffalo in New York. The Tesla CEO, Elon Musk, says the car manufacturer needs to cut at least 10% of its staff. In an email sent to the company's executives, which was seen by Reuters News, Musk says he's had a super bad feeling about the economy. He's also instructed the company to pause all hiring worldwide. Early this week, the CEO asked Tesla employees to end remote working, giving them an ultimatum to return to the office or leave the company. Here, the chairman of Asda says government plans to bring back imperial measurements are complete and utter nonsense. Stuart Rose says the move would mean going backwards at a difficult time for business. The government says it's launched a consultation to ditch what it calls overbearing EU laws on the use of measurements like pounds and ounces. And the illustrator behind best-selling book The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse is selling some of his drawings. Sotheby's is auctioning 28 original Charlie Maxey sketches. The ink and watercolour creations include 2 which didn't make the final cut for the book. The artist says it's a massive privilege to have shown his work by the auction house as part of a series of Jubilee exhibitions. You're up to date on GB News. More news as it happens. Now, here's Nana Akua.
Oh, crikey. I was just giving some people some orders. If you've just tuned in, I don't know what has become of me. You're with me, I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. Now, a lot of people criticise the concept of having a monarchy. They believe that we should get rid of them, calling them sponges and a waste of taxpayers' money. But I ask them, what would they put in their place? A republic? So, a president and prime minister, heaven help us. That's all we need. a new raft of elected dodgy politicians feathering their own nests with a myopic view of the future based on their own self-interest. Another one of those and all the guff that comes with it. Let's look at America. That's a republic. They can't even change the gun laws despite it being blatantly clear that they need reform. A group of self-centred politicians in the Senate with vested interests won't allow change to occur because the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment, written at a time when there was no such thing as an assault weapon, says that you can. And when mass shootings happen, politicians with vested interests visit the site of yet another tragedy. In this country, when disasters happen, it would be the monarchy, a neutral bonding force. Look at the legacy that Princess Diana left and the way Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, and other members of the royal family lend their support to charities all over the country to bring attention to a cause. The attention often pressurising governments from all over the world to do things differently. That's why it looks bad when self-interested people visit sites of tragedy with camera crews. Meghan and Harry tried to fill this void with their monarchic-style tour around New York to promote vaccine equity. And more recently, Meghan's visit to the site of the shooting in Texas, where many young children were killed. The sort of visit that you'd expect our monarch to do. However, when carried out, in my view, by self-interested people, it leaves a sour taste in the mouths of many and comes across as disingenuous, shallow and transient, even if it's well-meaning, the very opposite of what the monarchy represents. Most creatures on this earth have a central bonding figure. Look at bees and ants, the way they protect their queen. It gives them purpose. And that's not to say that we don't have purpose, but communities and societies appear to work better. Look at the history of mankind and the tribes that existed throughout eras. And then there is the family unit. It's proven that people who come from a united family, on the whole, tend to have a better mental health, a sense of belonging and a security that many envy. Why do you think people join gangs? What we have in the monarchy, just like Christ, if you believe in that, is an example. And it's amazing how one person's example can make a difference to the lives of others. You only need to hear what people say about the Queen to understand the power that the office can hold. This quote's from Theresa May. For all of those 70 years, Her Majesty has been a rock for the nation, a point of stability around the changing tides of history. Another quote. I often came away from meetings thinking to myself, what a shame she isn't in the cabinet. That was said by Sir John Major. For 70 years, you've inspired people with your selfless devotion and service to people. That's Joe Biden. Your life has been a gift, not just to the United Kingdom, but to the world. Barack Obama. I wish to record the value and respect I place on the significant contribution that you have made to the advancement of peace and reconciliation. That was Michelle O'Neill from Sinn Féin. Even in the most Republican circles in the Commonwealth group of nations or outside it, she is looked up to. Sir Tony Blair. I was going to leave that one out, to be honest. The Queen's strong Christian values are inclusive of all other faiths. She provides a thread of unity among us all, and that's one reason why she's loved by all of us. Anil Banon, he's a Hindu Council founding member. And this one, you are the golden thread that binds our two countries, the proof of the unwavering friendship between our nations. Emmanuel Macron. A monarch is a binding and consistent force whose relevance and influence is unquestionable. Even if you don't like them, the void that they would leave would be, in my view, filled with something that is inferior. God save the Queen. Before we get started, here's what else is coming up on the show today. On Friday Focus at 5, we'll continue to celebrate the Jubilee, and we'll take a look at the support that the royal family provides for charities across the United Kingdom. Her Majesty the Queen acts as a patron to more than 600 charities and organisations across the UK and the Commonwealth. The royal family have made raising the awareness of the work of charities an integral part of their public duties, and we'll be talking to some organisations who want to say thank you to the Queen. In our Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is the monarchy still relevant? A national service of Thanksgiving was held in St Paul's Cathedral this afternoon, and members of the royal family arrived greeted by loud jeers from the public. Prince Harry and Meghan appearing with the Windsors for the first time since moving to the States, arrived ahead of Prince William and Kate. Her Majesty, who was absent after experiencing some discomfort yesterday, watched on television from Windsor Castle. But I want to know whether you think the monarchy is still relevant. In our health breakthrough, the UK is at the forefront of new technologies. A team of surgeons have successfully transplanted a donor liver kept warm and alive outside the human body for 3 days. Now, this discovery was made in Switzerland, but it could considerably prolong the life of organs, meaning that more are available to those needing a transplant. It's going to be pioneered in 7 of the UK's liver transplant units, and experts at Oxford University are also examining 2. That's all coming up in the next hour. Tell me what you think on everything we're discussing. You can email gbviews@gbnews.uk or tweet me at gbnews. Right, let's get started. Let's welcome again to my panel, political editor at the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson, and also former Conservative advisor, Claire Pearsall. First, right, so let's get straight in there. First, I want to talk to you about the monarchy. Because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, no, the monarchy, waste of money. Do you think they're a waste of money, Nigel?
I think that there is a lot of money wasted, which is not quite the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a royalist. I'm a monarchist rather than a royalist.
Right.
I don't have much time for the royal family per se. I have a great deal of time for the Queen. And what I do think in this country is we are incredibly lucky to have a non-political head of state. I think it gives the country stability. And I know we don't sort of think that coups are about to happen or the government's about to be overthrown or anything like that. But it can happen. And the whole point
it is about to be overthrown, the government, by their own people as well.
I mean, the things I quite like is the security services don't answer to the government, they answer to the Queen. The army answers to the Queen. And so it goes on. So that's who their loyalty is towards, and that gives a measure of stability.
Claire?
I love the royal family. I'm so proud.
All of them.
Which
ones don't you like?
The working royals, I think, are tremendous. And I really do. And I have an awful lot of respect for the Queen. And I was out yesterday with my friend Kate and our boys walking around London and just looking at how happy, content, excited members of the public were. We queued for hours to go and stand in a small piece of grass at Hyde Park. And you know what? The mood of the British public was superb. We walked for miles, we queued for miles, we couldn't really see very much. The atmosphere was just tremendous because everyone was there celebrating 70 years of a monarch.
That's a long time,
we will never see the likes of that again.
Well, we certainly won't.
No, we won't. And I'm not convinced that, my son will. I think they'll probably go through a couple of monarchs in the time that he's alive. So I think, bring it on. I think they are worthwhile having. I don't think we need them replacing, and I would hate the day that we saw that being overthrown.
It feels that there is a sense, though, that people, and we'll talk more about whether they're relevant or not, because, that'll be our next sort of discussion. We'd love you to get involved in that. But it does feel to me that there is a sense of, I don't know, obviously the Queen will need to pass on her legacy to Charles, and there does feel a sense that there's going to be a bit of an anticlimax when that happens, that people are going to start to question the monarchy again. Because while she's there, everybody's happy. But then, obviously, when she passes that on, do you think that Charles will be do you think that people will rally behind Charles? And...
Not in the same way. I think the Queen has been really special. And the fact that she's the longest reigning monarch, all of us have grown up with her, in a sense, and then sort of seen her there as kind of the matriarchal figure of the country. So Charles will have a completely different role. I think that the answer is he shouldn't try and do too many things to change everything. And of course, that we now have a line of succession. You can see that Prince William is now taking on many of the royal duties that his father would have done, and Prince Charles is taking the Queen's duties on. So we have a nice line of succession, and that's the bit of the royal family I like.
Yeah.
I think that part works. It's the hangers-on, the outsiders, it's the Harry and Meghan.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, they're the ones I just find that terribly spoilt. There is an awful lot of privilege there, expectation from them, and that's the bit I want to get rid of. But I do like the line of succession and those royals who actually are close to the throne or one day will take the throne.
You know what it was like there, like brother and sisterly sort of rivalry, what that was like when you were growing up. Do you think there is a sense of that? Because obviously you've got William there doing his thing. Harry will obviously never probably become king because obviously there's a huge line of succession every time William and Kate have another child. He's gone even further back to the queue. Do you think that part of this is sort of a sibling rivalry ultimately that will happen when you sort of marry someone and then you realise how far you are down in the pecking order?
Well, I think getting married does change a sibling relationship. I think that's inevitable. But I think what's really done the damage is Harry going off and selling his story to American news networks. I think, you know, that is the ultimate shame for the family. Whereas William has sat there and tried to be, you know, pretty grown up about it, hasn't said anything, hasn't complained, because he's not meant to and he knows what the rules are. Whereas Harry has almost gone off and had a tantrum on the other side of the Atlantic with his wife and told the world, Oprah Winfrey, Netflix, you name it, about how hard done by he is. So I think if there was any semblance of a good sibling relationship, he would never have done that. And I think it's a real betrayal of his relationship with William, and they were very close. Given what they had been through growing up with Diana sadly dying, it's a real shame to see this happen. And I'm not sure there's any way back. It certainly wouldn't be if that was my sibling. I would be cutting them off and having nothing more to do with him.
I don't think he'll do that, though. They won't. The Queen has given them an example. And what I was saying in that monologue was really that when you have somebody who gives an example of what you should be behaving, the way you should be behaving, then you start to measure yourself up next to that. You can then see, in a sense, not a sense of inadequacy, because we are all adequate in our own way, but in a sense you can see what you should be doing and how you should be behaving. And if you're not behaving in that manner, it can be, we can actually see the difference. And we're seeing the Queen dignified, we're seeing Kate Middleton dignified, and then we're seeing the behaviour of Harry and Meghan.
And you made the point also, Nana, that what do we do about the alternative? That's why I think that this idea of a non-political head of state is really important. If you look at the Queen's constitutional function, she has to sign off bills and turn them into acts of Parliament and things like that. Yes, someone else could do that. You could have the Speaker of the House of Commons doing that. But do you want the Speaker as your head of state? I would have thought not.
Not if Bercow was anything to do with it.
Well,
Do you remember him?
Well, and
he was supposed to be
and
neutral, he couldn't manage it, could
and
he?
you would then have had Sally Bercow as First Lady.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, I don't think that the public would like that. But the important thing is that if you've got the Queen there, it takes it one stage away from politics. And heaven knows we could do with a few stages taken away from politics at the moment.
Because we often say we want to take back control, and when we take back control, which we should be able to do, it becomes out of control. So our politicians are now in charge, and we're like, oh my God, we've got the kids running the playground here. This is worrying. Even, I mean, I'm really, I wanted to leave the EU. I'm very glad that we have, but sometimes I look at what what we have in charge, and I think, oh my gosh. You know, I didn't really like the EU much, but the way they're operating is worrying. So to then have another set of these people running this country, or another layer, I'd be concerned with all the bureaucracy that would come with it as well.
But also the stability that you mentioned, the Queen brings stability to the nation. If you had an elected head of state, you know, how many years would we then be going through the electoral cycle for, you know, an elected head of state? You know, then we've got parliamentary elections and council elections. We will always be going to the ballot box for some reason. There will always... It just doesn't give you that stability long term. You will only think 5 or 6 years ahead, and then it all changes again, and everybody has to go through the process all over again. So I'm not convinced that that's any good for the country.
It's a bit like renting a house, isn't it? Every few years you have to update the lease, and we don't want to do that because of the potential of events.
No, and bear in mind that the one great thing about this country is that we've not had a revolution, not a proper one anyway, that everything has evolved over the years. And I think that when you start changing everything, there are unforeseen consequences as a result of that. And that's what you'd get with the Queen. Equally, by the way, with the House of Lords. Yeah. I'm actually, despite being a left-winger, in favour of the House of Lords.
Wow, crikey. Ground swallowing my whole. I know. He's unusual. Well, if you've just joined me, you're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News, the People's Channel, on TV, online and on digital radio. Still to come, the Great British Debate Hour. And I'm asking, is the British monarchy still relevant? Send me your thoughts. Email gbviews@gbnews.uk. Tell me what you think. You can also tweet at GB News. And there is a poll up right now asking you that very question. Is the monarchy still relevant? Cast your vote now, but first, let's get the weather.
We're looking ahead to this evening's weather, and there is some warm sunshine on offer for some of us, but showers affecting other parts. Let's look at the detail. Some of those showers then affecting the spine of the southwest of England. Coastal areas seeing decent spells in the sunshine. It will feel warm inland. Much of the southeast of England, in fact, should be dry, bright and warm, although a few showers may be encroaching into Kent and Sussex. A mixture of sunny spells and showers across Wales this evening. Some of those showers across mid and North Wales could be heavy and thundery. A few showers also likely across parts of the Midlands today, but equally there will be a bit of evening sunshine as well. Temperatures typically in the mid-teens, light winds expected there too. Yorkshire and North East England look to be predominantly dry this evening, with the best of the sunshine in the west. North Sea coasts a little cloudier, and it will feel cool with an onshore breeze. So then the east coast of Scotland, prone to cloud drifting in off the North Sea, but much of the central belt should enjoy some lovely sunshine during the evening. And most of today's showers across Northern Ireland should have faded away by this evening, leaving plenty of sunshine to end the day. Temperatures in Belfast around 15. So in the south then, thundery showers pushing up from the near continent overnight, chilliest and clearest in the northwest. And that's how the weather's shaping up overnight into tomorrow morning.
Hello, I'm Esther McVeigh.
And I'm Philip Davis.
Whether you're watching or listening on TV, online or on radio, we handpick the latest stories, debates and expert opinions for your weekend. So whether that's politics, news or showbiz, we've got it covered.
Join us every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on GB News.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV, on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation. We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
And the national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Just coming up to 26 minutes after 4 o'clock. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. We are the People's Channel. I'm Nana Akua. Now, of course, it is time for the Great British Debate. I'm asking, is the monarchy still relevant? Members of the royal family and leading politicians were joined by 400 key workers and volunteers at St Paul's Cathedral this afternoon. The Queen wasn't there due to being in discomfort. Thousands of people gathered outside St Paul's despite not being there. Now, the crowd lined the pavements outside to cheer on the royal family. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson did get a few boos from the crowd, but we'll get there and we'll talk about that after 5. So for today's Great British Debate, I'm asking, is the monarchy still relevant? I'm joined now by the former royal butler to Prince Charles, Prince Harry and Prince William. He's on a cruise ship to celebrate the Jubilee. Let's have a quick chat to Grant Harold on a Jubilee journey. Grant, how you doing? You all right?
Good afternoon, Nana. I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So you are there on a cruise ship. Where are you in between, or are you actually at a location? Where are you?
Well, welcome to the Sky Princess. I'm on the ship. We're sailing from Norway back to Southampton. So we arrive in Southampton tomorrow. And then I come back to Norway again. So I'm on for a few more days.
What are you doing there, though? What do? Are you serving tea and cakes, or what's happening?
We're... No, maybe I should. No, I'm actually here. They're having a Jubilee celebration over the next 4 days. We've got what's going on, obviously, in London's getting broadcast here on the ship. We've got different events going on around the ship. I'm actually doing some talking about our time with the Queen and members of the royal family. So it's a real kind of Jubilee party on board, which is why I'm here.
What's your big story then? Because, you know, obviously you've got all these people around. What's your sort of party trick story that gets everyone listening, your story about the Queen?
It's the one about when, as a youngster, I had a dream about actually becoming a member of the royal family, or the other part was to dance with the Queen. I remember seeing footage when I was about 12, 13 years old, and I said to my late father, how do you become a member of the royal family, or how do you dance with the Queen? And he said, well, you either marry them or you work for them. And I did think about who I could marry, because the reality was eventually I managed to get a job with the royal family, and eventually at Balmoral Castle I did get to dance with the Queen. So this is one of the stories I explained, the journey of how that happened and how I made this dream come true. And it was a dream come true because it was amazing. She's a very good dancer. I
bet she is. Now, you've got some decorations behind you and all that. What have you got then? How's the ship decorated to celebrate?
We've got some Union Jacks. We've got obviously the bunting out. A couple of flags. You know, it's all looking very. It looks almost a bit like the front of Buckingham Palace, doesn't it? Even grander.
Lovely. Well, listen, we're going to catch up with you on your Jubilee journey tomorrow. We want to, is the weather nice out there? Is it scenic? Is it nice?
It's lovely. There's a lot of sea. I've got to admit, there's a lot of sea around at the moment because we're obviously just on the way over. But it's wonderful. It's a very calm voyage, and it's a real party atmosphere as well. There's lots going on. There's even an Elton John tribute act that I went to see last night. So it's very, very British, a very British cruise. But tomorrow we'll be at Southampton, and I'll have good signal there. So hopefully it'll be a bit clearer.
Yeah. We want to see the outside. Listen, anyway, Grant, lovely to talk to you and enjoy your Jubilee journey. That is Grant Aldi's ex-royal butler. Right, another celebration taking place closer to home is friend of the show, Christine Hamilton. She's there at her house. The party's downstairs, I'm guessing. Christine, what's going on?
Yes, here we are. Most of our guests actually aren't arriving till this evening, so I've spent a lot of time cooking and goodness knows what, but I can't wait. I absolutely adore the royal family. I'm with you 100%. The sooner Harry and Meghan get back across the pond, the better. I really can't bear to see the sight of them. They have... I think Claire said they sold they've actually sold their soul to the devil, as far as I'm concerned, and they have behaved appallingly. And I love the Queen. I love having the royal family. They are incredibly good value. I mean, the figure used to be that they cost each of us £1 a year. Well, I mean, heavens. And people criticising the Jubilee, it's all being paid for by corporate and voluntary subscriptions. And it's bringing in so much. Just look at the souvenirs alone, the amount of the income that's generated for small businesses and companies. It's wonderful, and I think such a pity she couldn't get to the service, but I mean, I just love her to bits, and I think the monarchy is going to be safe for decades to come with Charles, and Camilla will make a wonderful queen. There you get the picture where I'm coming from.
No, we get the picture where you're coming from. You're going to have a fabulous evening. What has so far been your favourite bit of all of this, and what is still to come? Because obviously we've got today and tomorrow. Is there anything in particular that you're really looking forward to?
Well, I've always loved Trooping the Colour. It's one of my all-time favourite things. I mean, the marching bands and the pomp, the ceremony, all the miles of gold braid and the horses with their plumes. And, oh, gosh, I just love it. I just get up and stamp round the room and march in tune. So I think so far it's got to be that. And even when you've just got the boots crunching on the gravel with no music, I mean, that noise just goes through me like a rod. It's wonderful. I love it. So I think so far it's got to be Trooping the Colour.
Is there anybody particularly famous? Or who's coming to party then? Can you share some of the info?
Oh, no famous at all. No, we've got friends from America and Mexico coming. And then tomorrow we're going to a sort of private Jubilee party with mutual friends. And then on Sunday we live in a little tiny village. 2 villages are joining together, and it's going to be raining, unfortunately, but it will not damp the spirits. And I have been charged. It's terribly efficient. Talk about British efficiency. We all had an email. What would you like to tick? So I ticked a large platter of ham sandwiches, half with mustard and half without, and they'll have Union little flag things sticking out, a platter of quiche slices, which is already done and made, and a large bag of crisps. So that's my contribution.
Well, listen, it sounds like it's a fabulous celebration. You enjoy it, and thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Nana, it's a great pleasure to be with you on this very, very special weekend.
Thank you so much. That is Christine Hamilton. She's a writer and media personality. She's going to have a very, very good party. I can see that. Well, if you've just joined me, where have you been? You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. We are the People's Channel. And after the break, we continue with the Great British Debate. And I'm asking, are the monarchy still relevant? You'll hear the thoughts of my panel, Nigel Nelson and also Claire Pearsall. And then don't forget, stay with us, because at 5 for our Friday Focus, we'll be taking a look at what the royal family does for charity. Her Majesty the Queen acts as a patron to more than 600 charities and organisations across the UK and the Commonwealth, and we'll be speaking to a few charities to see how crucial their support is. But first, let's get your latest news headlines.
Nana, thank you. The top stories. Buckingham Palace has confirmed the Queen will not attend the Epsom Derby tomorrow. Her Majesty is expected to watch the event on television at Windsor Castle. And the Archbishop of York has thanked the Queen for staying the course during a service at St Paul's Cathedral today. Members of the royal family, including Prince Charles and Camilla, were joined by dignitaries to honour the Queen and her 70-year reign. Prince William and Kate were also there, along with Prince Harry and Meghan, who appeared with the Windsors for the first time since moving to the States. Her Majesty missed the event after experiencing some discomfort yesterday and watched the service on television from Windsor Castle. The Archbishop said the Queen was missed.
Your Majesty, we are sorry that you're not here with us this morning, but we are so glad that you are still in the saddle. And we are glad that there is still more to come.
Well, in other news, UK intelligence shows Russia now controls more than 90% of Luhansk in eastern Ukraine. On the 100th day of the war, the UK Ministry of Defence is warning Moscow could have complete control of the region in the next 2 weeks. After abandoning its assault on the capital, Kyiv, Russian forces are now focusing on the east and the south of the country. The chairman of ASDA says government plans to bring back imperial measurements are complete and utter nonsense. Lord Stuart Rose says the move would mean going backwards at a difficult time for business. The government says it's launched a consultation to ditch what it calls overbearing EU laws on the use of measurements like pounds and ounces. You're up to date on TV, online and on your radio via DAB+. You're with GB News. Nana Akua is here in just a bit.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV, on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation. We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Welcome back. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. You can even watch us live on YouTube or download the GB News app. Right, let's get back to the Great British Debate this hour. And I'm asking, is the monarchy still relevant? Hundreds of thousands of us will be celebrating Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee this weekend. And the Queen has had to miss her own Thanksgiving service this afternoon. Prince Harry and Meghan returned to a major royal event for the first time in 2 years. And the celebrations will continue all weekend, as will the updates here on GB News. So I want to know, is the monarchy still relevant? What do you think? Let's see what my panel make of that. I've got political editor at the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson, and also former Conservative advisor Claire Pearce. So I'm going to start with you, Claire. So we talked about the monarchy. A lot of people love the monarchy. I know we are all people who enjoy the monarchy, although you're not a royalist, but you like the monarchy, like the actual ones who are running the country.
Monarchists.
But are they still relevant?
Well, yes, I do think they are. And you only have to look, at Christine's party, which, where's my invite, Christine? That's what I want to know. She's having a party and we're not there. But it's managed to bring the country together again. And that's the one thing I noticed yesterday being out and about, that people from all over the country were in London. They were mixing together and nobody had a bad word to say. The atmosphere was great. It has brought streets of neighbours together for street parties, which we haven't done through the pandemic, but also prior to that, everybody's lives were very busy. So the bunting and the flags and the parties and just people getting together for a bit of a cup of tea, piece of cake, bit of a natter, then yes, it's still relevant and it's doing the best for the country. And I think this is absolutely the best of Britain when you see this. Just the sheer feeling of people yesterday in a situation that could have exploded with pushchairs and bicycles and people with dogs and small children, everybody crushed together. No one had a bad word to say to each other, which is really unusual.
When I see these celebrations, I always think to myself, where are the toilets? Where does everyone go to the toilet?
Yeah.
I always think, maybe it's my age. That's the first thing I think of is, where's everyone go to the toilet? How are you going to, are they going to be clean? Will there be hand gel? I mean, you know what I mean? They're all out there, they're all having a great time.
Yeah, OK. Yes.
Do you not think about that?
I don't tend to think about it as much as you obviously do, but I suppose I would if I wanted to go.
Exactly.
But I agree with Claire, by the way, on this one about the unity thing. Again, it goes back to this point about having a non-political head of state, that people can all get behind that one person because there's nothing partisan about it. So that's what keeps the monarchy as such relevant in the present day. And if you see those sort of crowds yesterday, as you said, I wasn't there, I've been working right through the Jubilee.
You missed
But from what you saw yesterday, the crowds there behaving themselves, being cheery, happy, that's a great tonic for the nation.
It's also something you mentioned earlier, it's that continuity. Political parties keep being voted in and out. They change the rules for GCSEs. OK, it's going to be 1 to 9, then it's going to be ABC, then it's going to be this. And it's very disruptive, isn't it? Because nothing really gets done. Nothing gets finished. Nothing gets done. And then the next people come in and they change it slightly and then that. And it's sort of... But here we have a solid line of 70 years of the same person with the same family, with the same guidelines and the same stoicism, and it's actually quite you know, you sort of feel slightly relieved.
Well, you could
it's
say
not going to be changing
in
again.
In a sense, it's 1,000 years, and this is the whole point.
Yes.
And this is why our system has evolved over all that time. That we go back, you know, it's king, queen, and so on all the way through. So again, that gives you a foundation for the stability that we enjoy at the moment.
But what about the fact that some people think they're sponges? To come to that, because some people think, well, look, why are we paying a
the
load
royal
of people?
family are. The royal family are.
Yeah.
The Queen isn't.
But people might say, why are we paying a group of people who happen to be, you know, happen to get the birthright, and they happen to be so that they're royal? They don't have to do anything really apart from just behave themselves, which some people struggle to do, even though they were getting money for a rope, pretty much.
But I think and I have a few friends who feel this way, and when you start questioning them as to what is it you would like in place, and they say, oh, well, you know, an elected head of state, that's what we want. You go, OK, then would you like a Conservative? Oh, no, I don't want one of those. OK, well, would you like a Labour, a Liberal Democrat? No, we don't want one of those. And it's like, OK, so what is it you know, what do you want? And they can't quite find the argument. You know, you can chat to them and say, look at the amount of money that they bring into the country, because the royal family and the Queen definitely bring people into the United Kingdom. People come and they want to look at Buckingham Palace, they want to come to London, they want to go to Windsor to look around and see and have parts of it.
But even without them, those things would still be there, and you can keep the history going.
But not quite in the same way, because everybody really wants to see. They want to see the Queen, and you know, people that come over, they go to places like Windsor Castle with the hope of seeing the Queen. We all do it. I've done it. And you want to catch a glimpse of a royal family member in the car going along the Mall, and they are an enormous...
celebrities, isn't it?
If you go somewhere. Celebrity.
If you went to Mick Jagger's house, you would hope he was at home, that kind of idea.
I'm not sure I would make that much of an effort, but, you know... but when you start to talk to people about why they are so anti-monarchy, I think it's because they are anti the money and the background that these people have. Now, the Queen was not born to be Queen. She became Queen pretty much by a matter of circumstance. So I don't think you could say it's entirely her fault.
Which was a princess.
Yeah, it wasn't far off the throne.
But she wasn't. But, you know, she didn't... You know, it wasn't her natural calling, was it? I mean, yes, she was in the royal family, she was in the monarchy, it was always going to be that way, but she wasn't setting out to be Queen. She wasn't meant to be.
But I think you've got a point, Nana, it is the money. That there's an awful lot of taxpayers' money. I mean, there's the civil list, which they get for their day-to-day expenses, but there's an awful lot more money sort of disguised that the royal palaces are paid for by the taxpayer. The way the Duchy of Cornwall operates is not entirely Prince Charles's land. It's not an entirely self-generating kind of thing. So we've got all sorts of expenses that we throw in, and hence why I'm not a royalist. I'm wondering whether we need all that. Keep the line of succession, like all that, but I'm not sure we need the rest of them, perhaps with the exception of Princess Anne, who seems to have been working her socks off for her entire life.
Well, Prince Charles seems to be talking about slimming down the monarchy anyway. But what about some of those royal tours that they've been going on as well? Because whilst I know I love the royal family, the working ones, I'll be very clear about that. But sometimes when I looked at the tour and the way it came across, it did have this sort of... They obviously didn't mean for it to come across that way, but I can understand why, you know, that sort of... That didn't come across well. And I think that part of it, do you think that's relevant and still travelling around different parts of the world sort of saying hi to people?
It's really difficult because there are sensitivities with some places. As we've seen going over towards the Caribbean, it's incredibly sensitive for the royal family to go over. But I think they would also get criticism if they didn't go. It feels a little bit stayed when, you know, they sort of stand there and they wave a bit and you know, they'll be photographed with a small child or whatever. But I'm not sure what else they can do. The Queen has a relationship with these areas, especially in the Commonwealth, but I think times are changing. I'm not sure that the expense of a royal visit and the pomp and ceremony that brings is necessary in those areas right now, because a lot of those areas are struggling with their own identity as an independent state, for example, also with the cost of living and all the rest of it. So it just feels a little bit sort of
Well, we all
disparate.
are. We're all struggling with our identity and the cost of living. So under this sort of backdrop, do you feel that they are, you know, a bit relevant? Because I have been listening to people saying, well, you know, we're all suffering with the cost of living. Then you see these people who don't actually work. Well, I think they do, but some people don't, you know, they're getting money anyway. And a lot of people looking at that thinking, well, you know, what about us? We're suffering the cost.
It's the question of the money, I think. I mean, I think it's unfair to say they don't work.
Yeah, no, I think they do. I mean,
shaking hands day in, day out sounds like pretty hard work to me. So they certainly work, but the money thing, I'd like to see that more transparent. We're always told we have to get value for money. I'd like to see the value for money that the royal family actually provide. And things like, do they bring in trade deals or something like that? And a lot of suggestions are that they don't. That Prince Philip would go somewhere, insult somebody. We actually lost a deal. So I'm not sure about their benefit on that front. But again, if we had that kind of transparency, that kind of analysis, we might know.
OK, well, let's find out what you think at home, because the show's nothing without you and your views. Let's welcome one of our great British voices. This is your opportunity to be on the show. Tell us what you really think about the topics we're discussing. Right, where should we go to now? Let's go to London. Let's have a chat to Chris Davies. He's there right now. Chris, welcome. He's there outside with this shade. It must be lovely.
Hi, Nana. How are you doing?
Good, good. Listen, what do you think? Are the monarchies still relevant?
They are still relevant, Nana, when the alternative would be President Blair or President Nick Clegg or even David Cameron. They are definitely relevant. I agree with Nigel on one or two things, which is quite unusual, actually. I'm quite with him on the House of Lords. I'd have a quarter of the people in there that are in there now, but I don't disagree with that. And when it comes to the monarchy, look, there's no question that the Queen has reigned supreme for 70 years. What's going to come next is a bit after the Lord Mayor's show. I'm underwhelmed, as I think many are, by Prince Charles and to an extent William, with their attendance at things like the World Economic Forum. But look, the monarchy has been around for a very, very long time. It waxes and wanes in popularity, but broadly, it's much better than the alternative.
Well, what did you say? You don't normally agree with Nigel. Why? Is it because he's a lefty?
Well, we certainly wouldn't necessarily agree on certain aspects of politics, put it that way. I don't automatically disagree with the left on everything, but I don't automatically agree with them on most things, put it that way.
What do you think, in terms of importance, how important is it to celebrate this particular moment?
Oh, look, Nana, absolutely. You've said it yourself. This will not happen again, certainly in our lifetimes or even our children's lifetimes. You know, no monarch has ever reigned for 70 years in the United Kingdom. I don't see it happening again. And, you know, with the exception of one or two missteps, you'd have to say the Queen has been pretty much Torville and Dean flawless. It is hard to think of a better example of soft power, and well, I will dissent from the Nelson view, is in terms of the sort of the indirect money that the royal family bring in. It's an intangible, it's difficult to measure, but how many people come, as you've just said, in the hope that they will see the Queen, see the royal family, and certainly, look, there are one or two hangers on, and I agree that they do need to be cut off. I think we know who they are. But let's just leave it as, yes, I agree with the line of succession principle, and yes, the monarchy is definitely a much better alternative than an elected president.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Unless it's you, Nana. Unless it's you. All the best.
OK, thank you, darling. Very good. Well, on that note, I'll let you go, Chris. Thank you so much. That's Chris Davies.
Enjoy the Jubilee. Bye-bye.
Thank you. He's our GB voice. Right, well, you're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. After the break, we'll be looking at a health breakthrough. Exciting new developments here in the UK about the length of time a donor liver can be kept alive. Potentially great news to those waiting for a transplant, and less organs will need to be discarded. That is all on the way, but first, let's get an update with the weather.
We're looking ahead to this evening's weather, and there is some warm sunshine on offer for some of us, but showers affecting other parts. Let's look at the detail. Some of those showers then affecting the spine of the southwest of England. Coastal areas seeing decent spells in the sunshine. It will feel warm inland. Much of the southeast of England, in fact, should be dry, bright and warm, although a few showers may be encroaching into Kent and Sussex. A mixture of sunny spells and showers across Wales this evening. Some of those showers across mid and North Wales could be heavy and thundery. A few showers also likely across parts of the Midlands today, but equally there will be a bit of evening sunshine as well. Temperatures typically in the mid-teens, light winds expected there too. Yorkshire and North East England look to be predominantly dry this evening, with the best of the sunshine in the west. North Sea coasts a little cloudier, and it will feel cool with an onshore breeze. So then the east coast of Scotland, prone to cloud drifting in off the North Sea, but much of the central belt should enjoy some lovely sunshine during the evening, and most of today's showers across Northern Ireland should have faded away by this evening, leaving plenty of sunshine to end the day. Temperatures in Belfast around 15. So in the south then, thundery showers pushing up from the near continent overnight, chilliest and clearest in the northwest, and that's how the weather's shaping up overnight into tomorrow morning.
Hello, I'm Alastair Stewart, and I'd invite you to join me at noon on Saturdays and Sundays for Alastair Stewart and Friends. I've been in this business for over 40 years. And now, here at GB News, I've never been happier. I get to choose the big stories that really interest me. We hear what you have to say, and you hear what I have to say. I really hope you can join me, noon on Saturdays and Sundays.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV, on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation. We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
So it's just coming up to 55 minutes after 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. If you've just tuned in, where have you been? You're watching or listening to GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. Today I've been asking, is the monarchy still relevant? And lots of you have been getting in touch with your views. Polly says, I've always known the Queen as my head of state and love her and love my country. I've also always known Prince Charles as his heir, and he has been as much part of our culture and heritage as the Queen. Janet says, no one would invent monarchy now, even in the form we have it. But if the system isn't broken, don't fix it. That would be a ridiculous waste of money, and there is a benefit in having the stability of a long-term head of state who isn't overtly political. Gabby says Charles has gotten this right. There's a need to trim the monarchy down. He's doing that, and it helped that Harry and Meghan wanted the Playboy lifestyle in America. And also Jenny has sent me a message saying, Jenny in Cheltenham, she says, the monarchy will not remain relevant unless it puts a stop to Harry and Meghan monetising Harry's royal connections. Right, there's a poll up on Twitter today, there's a few like that, asking, is the monarchy still relevant? And currently, 82% of you say yes, only 18% of you say no. Right, keep them coming, but now it is time for our health breakthrough. Surgeons have been able to keep a kidney live and warm outside the body for 3 days. Now, it's using new technology which could allow more flexibility in the timing of transplant operations, as kidneys normally only keep for about 12 hours. Now, there are hopes that it could be rolled out across the United Kingdom, as experts from Oxford University are actually planning to assess the outcomes of this new technology. So I'm joined now by an NHS doctor, Dr. Daniel Akua. Hello, Daniel. Smile for me. Let me see those teeth. Look at his teeth. They're so white. Sorry, Daniel, every time. I've got to stop doing that. Now, how exciting is this? This is supposed to be fabulous news, right?
This is brilliant news, and of course, happy Jubilee, happy Platinum Jubilee. I think it's important that we put things in perspective. So, at the moment, the UK average waiting time for an adult is about 65 days for a liver transplant, and for children, it's about 77 days. Now, a lot can happen in that time, and of course, these liver patients are extremely unwell, and often the prognosis is very poor because the liver does a lot in the body. So 2021, 312 patients actually died waiting for a transplant. So this, of course, is a major breakthrough, and it's going to make a difference to a lot of people.
But I thought that the liver was the only one that could regenerate itself, so that you could have a live transplant from somebody who's actually alive and have a bit, and then it would regenerate itself. So the liver isn't that the case?
The liver is remarkable. It's one of the ores of the human body and biology. It's amazing. But at a certain stage, that's it. The liver is, it won't regenerate, and it will start getting worse and worse. And that is, pretty much a death sentence, because the liver is doing so much. So at this stage, when we've done all we can, the patients on the intensive care, they've heard from all the doctors they can. At this stage, it's about transplanting that liver, changing that liver for a new one. So again, at this stage, what normally happens is that, we put the liver on ice. The liver is literally on ice, and this is around sort of 4 degrees. Now, ice has a particular effect on tissue. It causes crystals, and that obviously damages the cells and reduces the viability of that organ.
I see. So you said the liver does a lot of things. Very briefly, in about 20 seconds, what does it do?
Excellent. Love this. So the liver, number one, it makes a lot of factors. So it helps with clotting. It helps with glucose metabolism. It stores a large amount of, of course, glucose. So in a starving state, when people are starving, it's going to release that into the body, into the bloodstream, and help us feed. At the same time, it cleans the blood. We call it something called first pass metabolism. When you eat all this junk food, all this food that we eat actually has to go past the liver, and the liver's cleaning it. And of course, alcohol, there's going to be a lot of drinking this weekend, and the liver's going to be working hard over this weekend. Let me tell you that one right now. So the liver does a lot. The liver does an awful lot.
Well, that's really good news. And how soon, we've got about 20 seconds left. I know you like this game. How soon do you think that this could be potentially a technology that we'll be using?
Oh, so that is the big question. We've just got the results right now. This patient who had 3 days of a liver being transplanted into their body after being out of the body for 3 days using this new technology. Now it's been 1 year after that. Now there's a lot of work to do, and not just that, but it's about making this resource and this technology actually affordable, and actually on the NHS. The NHS isn't funding it just yet. I would say hopefully we can do something within 5-10 years, hopefully sooner, but this is a very slow game. But it's great news anyway. It's good to hear.
Well, it's progress, isn't it, anyway? Daniel, thank you so much for talking to us. That's Dr. Daniel Akua. He's an NHS doctor. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. More to come in the next hour. I'm Nana Akua, this is GB News, and for the next hour, me and my panel will be taking on some of those big topics hitting the headlines right now. But first, it's 5, let's get your latest news headlines.
Nana, thank you. Good afternoon. The top stories on GB News. Buckingham Palace has confirmed the Queen will not attend the Epsom Derby tomorrow. Her Majesty is expected to watch the event on television, however, at Windsor Castle. Meanwhile, the Archbishop of York has thanked the Queen for staying the course during a service at St Paul's Cathedral. Members of the royal family, including Prince Charles and Camilla, were joined by dignitaries to honour the Queen and her 70-year reign. Prince William and Kate were also there, along with Prince Harry and Meghan, who appeared with the Windsors for the first time since moving to the States. Her Majesty missed the event after experiencing some discomfort yesterday and watched the service on television from Windsor Castle. The Archbishop said the Queen was missed.
Your Majesty, we are sorry that you're not here with us this morning, but we are so glad that you are still in the saddle, and we are glad that there is still more to come.
Well, the Prime Minister was also at St Paul's and he received a rather mixed reception on his arrival. Some cheers by the crowds as he approached the steps in front of St Paul's with his wife Carrie. It follows a turbulent time for the Prime Minister, who's facing calls to quit after Sue Gray's report into lockdown breaches at Downing Street. One onlooker explained why he booed.
I did this because I think the man has only been lying to the British public for the last 5 years, and him being here when we're remembering our Queen is inappropriate.
Leaders around the world have sent their best wishes to the Queen on the occasion of her Platinum Jubilee. Among them is North Korea's Kim Jong-un. In a message from Pyongyang, the reclusive leader extended his congratulations to Her Majesty and the British people for 70 years on the throne. Two men have apologised for their involvement in a video appearing to mock the murder of a Northern Irish woman. John Bell and Andrew McDade offered an apology for their actions. 27-year-old Michaela McKeevy was strangled in a hotel room in Mauritius in January 2011. Her murder has never been solved. Politicians across Northern Ireland have condemned the video, which appeared to be filmed in a room decorated with Union flags and Orange Order paintings. The Orange Order described the video as utterly abhorrent and have launched an investigation. International news, and Ukraine's leader has pledged to continue defending his country as Russia's assault on its neighbour entered its 100th day. This afternoon, President Zelensky released a statement saying victory will be ours. That's after UK intelligence showed Russia now controls more than 90% of Luhansk in eastern Ukraine. The UK MOD warning Moscow could have complete control of the region in the next 2 weeks. In a statement released by Number 10, Boris Johnson reiterated the UK's support for Ukraine.
We will press on for as long as necessary, never wavering in our support for Ukraine until Putin's invasion has failed and Ukrainians enjoy the peace and the freedom that their heroism deserves.
In the United States, President Joe Biden is urging Congress to ban assault weapons and expand background checks in the wake of another mass shooting. 4 people, including 2 doctors, were killed when a gunman opened fire at a hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma yesterday. Last week, a teenager shot 19 children and 2 teachers dead at a school in Uvalde in Texas. And during a racially motivated attack, 10 people were killed in Buffalo in New York. Here, the chairman of ASDA says government plans to bring back imperial measurements are complete and utter nonsense. Lord Stuart Rose says the move would mean going backwards at a difficult time for business. The government says it's launched a consultation to ditch what it calls overbearing EU laws on the use of measurements like pounds and ounces. And the illustrator behind the best-selling book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse, is selling some of his drawings. Sotheby's is auctioning 28 original Charlie Maxey sketches. The ink and watercolour creations include 2 which didn't make the final cut for the book. The artist says it's a massive privilege to have his work shown by the auction house as part of a series of Jubilee exhibitions. You're up to date on GB News. More news as it happens now. Nana Akua.
Good afternoon. It's fast approaching 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. This is GB News, the People's Channel, on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. Over the next hour, me and my panel will be taking on some of those big topics that are hitting the headlines right now. The show is all about opinion. That's mine, it's theirs, and of course it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. So joining me today on this Jubilee special is political editor of the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson, and also former Conservative advisor, Claire Pearsall. Still to come, each Friday at 5, we put the spotlight on a particular guest or a subject matter that's obviously in focus, on Friday Focus. And as we celebrate the Platinum Jubilee this weekend, I'll be joined by members of a number of charities which are closely affiliated with the royal family. The Windsors are well known for their work that they do with organisations which give something back to Britain. I'll be speaking to some of them next. And in the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is talk of ousting Boris disrespectful to the Queen? The Home Secretary Priti Patel has said that speculation about the Prime Minister's leadership shouldn't overshadow celebrations for the 70th years of Elizabeth's reign. She insisted that all the focus should be on Her Royal Highness. There's currently 28 Tory MPs who have publicly called for the Prime Minister to quit, with many believing that the number could be higher if letters which aren't publicly declared are also included. But I want to ask, is it really right to speculate on the future of the country's leader at a time of national celebration? Send me your thoughts, gbviews@gbnews.uk, or tweet me at gbnews. So now it is time for Friday Focus, and as celebrations take place up and down the country for the Platinum Jubilee, we should remember one of the main ways the royal family serve the country, and that is, of course, through charity. The Windsors are closely linked with many charitable organisations that work to make our nation a better place, from supporting some of Britain's most underprivileged communities to helping people suffering from mental health problems and disabilities. The Royals back a host of charities, and today I'm going to speak to some of them. So let's start with a lady called Suzanne Collins. She's the chair of the trustees at the Ebony Horse Club, an organisation which was set up. So, Susan, talk to me. Tell me a little bit about your organisation.
Well, we have 9 horses. We're in the middle of Brixton, between the railway lines and Loughborough Junction and a tower block. And we have 9 horses and a floodlit arena and 2 big turnout paddocks. And we welcome over 150 children and young people a week to come to learn to ride and, more importantly, perhaps, to learn to care for the horses as well.
And what do the young people get out of that then? Because they're there with these horses and things. What is the thing that you see them getting from that?
Well, I think they learn a lot of transferable skills. You know, they care for the horses, and caring for a creature. There's our Claudia on one of her last visits. And they learn skills like, you know, it builds their confidence, resilience, teamwork, and respect for animals and people. So it's a very exciting and valuable charity. I think that, you know, we're really seeing the effects now. We've been going 11 years and we're seeing children grow up and, you know, go off into the world. In fact, we're re-employing one of our alumni is now a yard assistant with us. So that's rather exciting.
That's lovely. And of course, if you're watching on TV, you'd have seen the images of Camilla there. Camilla's part of that charity. What does she do for the charity?
Well, she's terrific. She does a lot for us. And, you know, she has great credibility in the horse world because she's very experienced and competent horsewoman herself. And she visits us every couple of years. That visit there actually took place between lockdowns in November on a terrible rainy day. But actually, it was just so wonderful that she came, and we had such fun, and it was such a boost. And, she does a lot for us. We visited her at Clarence House. She's hosted us at Racecourse. She introduces us to people, and she just, she's just a great boost to the charity, and it's very genuine. And she always turns up with a packet of polos to feed the ponies. And she's very interested in children, very, very interested in their progress as riders and as people, really. So she's terrific.
So do you think
she actually once brought her mother-in-law to visit us, the Queen.
Oh, wow.
Came in 2013, which was fantastic.
So do you think the royal family? Do you think the royal family that is still relevant then, in your view?
Well, I think they are, and I can see the excitement. I mean, we had a platinum Jubilee hack this morning, and the children were all there plaiting ribbons into the ponies' manes and things. I think. Yes, they are. I mean, I think when the Duchess comes to us, a lot of local people come and, watch, and they seem to be very keen. Some of them are going to the Jubilee concert tomorrow night outside Buckingham Palace. We're also going to the Derby, but I've just heard on your news bulletin that sadly the Queen won't be attending, but sure they'll have a wonderful day anyway.
Well, Susan, if people are interested in the charity, do you have a website or something where they could go and look you up?
It's ebonyhorseclub.org, and you can follow us on Twitter, Ebony Horse Club, and I think we're on Insta with Ebony Horse Club Brixton, I think. So, we rely on supporters. So please do look us up and see what we're up to.
Well, thank you, Suzanne. I'll follow you, but you better follow me back, otherwise you're dead to me. Thank you so much, Susan. I'm joking. That is Susan Collins. She is the Chair of Trustees at Ebony Horse Club. I'm also now joined by Ken Ross. He's the Vice Chair of the Portsmouth Down Syndrome Association, who's been named as the Platinum Champion. What does that mean? That sounds fabulous, the Platinum Champion. What's that all about?
Oh, hi, Nana. We're very pleased to be named Platinum Champions. Myself and Rachel Ross, the Chair, were recognised for our various roles involved with the charity by the Big Lunch people and the Queen's Volunteers Service. So we're over the moon with it. It was a real surprise. It was a real boost. It's been an incredible year so far. We were heavily involved with getting the Down Syndrome Act into being. So for this recognition coming now at such an incredible time has just been amazing.
So the Act, the Down Syndrome Act, you got that into being. Give us sort of briefly what it meant.
Well, it was the culmination of a long time. I mean, as a charity, we've been providing free specialist services to over 100 schools at any one time. We've trained thousands of people in the NHS. We provide great opportunities for children to get together and socialise with people, families to meet other families and really put things into perspective. But children with Down syndrome and people with Down syndrome have a very specific learning profile, and unfortunately, if work isn't adapted for them, it can make it quite tricky for them to fully get integrated into mainstream education. It can sometimes mean that they're exposed to a lot of diagnostic overshadowing in the health service. So this Act has really brought together a whole load of duties for various secretaries of state to consider people with Down syndrome more closely when they're thinking about any laws. In terms of where we can go from here, I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, we're so excited that we're going to start seeing much better integration, much better understanding at school, greater awareness, and much more into the workplace.
And of course, the royal family and the support that you've been given, how has it mainly assisted you? And obviously, you've been awarded the platinum honour. What difference does that make to you?
Well, I mean, the charity was actually awarded the MBE for charities by the Queen last year. So the Queen's Award for Volunteering. So that was a huge boost. So in terms of, it's like almost having a royal warrant, except for, for a charity. So it really does sort of stamp your status as people that, are out there delivering on the ground, and really making a change. So for the charity to receive that, it was incredible. The Queen further honoured the charity by being one of only about 160 charities across the country during COVID for specialist services and specialist intervention during COVID in the face of quite severe adversity, where lots of people were feeling isolated. A lot of people were very concerned around health. So it was really important for us to keep things going. Yesterday, when it was announced about the Platinum Champions, we were hosting our own Platinum Jubilee fete.
Oh,
so we had about
fabulous.
350 members there. It was an incredibly brilliant day of sunshine, 50 style stalls, coconut shies, with 3 bands, and it was all it was in the grounds of one of our supporters' beautiful homes.
Wow!
So yeah, it just gave everyone a really good boost. So our charity, it is like a massive family, and having this attention and and thoughtfulness from the royal family,
yes.
and we deeply respect the Queen, has been amazing.
She is amazing, isn't she? Well, listen, Ken, thank you so much for joining us. That's Ken Rossi, he's the Vice Chair for the Portsmouth Down Syndrome Association. Right, let's have a chat to Alex Holmes, the Deputy CEO of the Diana Awards, which was founded in the memory of Princess Diana. The awards exist to help out young people. Thank you so much for joining us. So talk to me a little bit about this sort of Diana Awards and what they're all about.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So we were created as a memorial to Princess Diana's belief that young people have the power to change the world. So every year across the globe, we recognise young leaders, change makers that are making a difference in their schools and their communities, tackling some really difficult issues, and we give them the Diana Award. And Princess Diana was obviously a big part of that and that legacy. And we also work very closely with both Harry and William.
See, this is the thing, because the Diana Awards seem to be an amazing thing. And tomorrow we're actually speaking to a lady who has won one of these awards. What does it do for the young people when they receive this award? Because there's a young lady who we were talking to, her name is Anna McGovern. She'll be talking to us about the award that she won for, coming up with ideas to help children who have been abused. So talk to me about what it does for the young people as well.
Yeah, I think any sort of recognition, really, particularly when you're a young leader, can spur you on to want to achieve more. And I think what awards like the Diana Award do is provide young people in particular with that network so they can learn from other young people, and it gives them some of those leadership skills and those strategies around how they can further scale their change or their initiative, because these young people are often social entrepreneurs. So I think when you get recognition, which comes from that great sort of namesake Princess Diana, and also for 20 of our recipients, they also receive their award directly from Harry or William and have recognition. I think it does mean a great deal, and we certainly still see young people really excited to find themselves being on the recipient of an award such as this, which they still find really prestigious and I think carries a lot of value.
Because you work with young people, right? In your view, do they appear to think that the monarchy is still relevant?
No, I think absolutely. I think there is still real excitement, and there's still recognition of what the monarchy does. I'm also something called a Queen's Young Leader, so I received an award myself from the Queen, and that was an initiative in the Queen's name where we are encouraged to look at what it means to be part of the Commonwealth. And I think young people have some really strong views on that. Some of them are positive, some of those are negative, but I think that the royal family and the households acknowledge that and encourage young people to look at that history, to think about the future. But I think the thing that unites us is the fact that there are so many young people in the world, particularly in the Commonwealth countries, who are really making a real difference. And it's actually going to be these young people that are going to be the future leaders. They are certainly the change makers. So I think there's still a lot of value in those individuals, such as the royal family members, who have a lot of power and a great platform to bring together those young people, convene them with other amazing organisations and individuals to further their work. So, yeah, I think there's still a lot of positive vibes and energy around the royal family, and I think that's certainly not going to disappear, according to the young people we work with.
That's really good to hear. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. That's Alex Holmes. He's the Deputy CEO for the Diana Awards. Really good to talk to you. And, of course, I've been asking you throughout the show whether you think the monarchy are relevant. And a message here from Lenora. She says, you asked, is the monarchy still relevant today? Did anyone not see the fabulous celebrations yesterday? The answer is a massive yes. And John says, it's great to have a non-political head of state. The alternative is an elected president for, say, 5 years. Within 2.5 years, electioneering for the next president would commence. More political instability when we would end, where we would end up with Biden, Macron or Higgins or one of those. So thank you for that. Keep them coming. On the way, the Great British Debate, and I'm asking, is talk of ousting Boris Johnson disrespectful to the Queen? Despite it being her platinum jubilee, there's speculation from rebel Tory MPs about the Prime Minister's future. 28 of these MPs have now publicly called on Boris Johnson to resign. They've been doing that even now. I'll discuss whether this is actually quite disrespectful on a weekend that is really meant to be a celebration. That's next, but first, let's get some weather.
We're looking ahead to this evening's weather, and there is some warm sunshine on offer for some of us, but showers affecting other parts. Let's look at the detail. Some of those showers then affecting the spine of the southwest of England. Coastal areas seeing decent spells in the sunshine. It will feel warm inland. Much of the southeast of England, in fact, should be dry, bright and warm, although a few showers may be encroaching into Kent and Sussex. A mixture of sunny spells and showers across Wales this evening. Some of those showers across mid and North Wales could be heavy and thundery. A few showers also likely across parts of the Midlands today, but equally there will be a bit of evening sunshine as well. Temperatures typically in the mid-teens, light winds expected there too. Yorkshire and North East England look to be predominantly dry this evening, with the best of the sunshine in the west. North Sea coasts a little cloudier, and it will feel cool with an onshore breeze. So then the east coast of Scotland, prone to cloud drifting in off the North Sea, but much of the central belt should enjoy some lovely sunshine during the evening. And most of today's showers across Northern Ireland should have faded away by this evening, leaving plenty of sunshine to end the day. Temperatures in Belfast around 15. So in the south then, thundery showers pushing up from the near continent overnight, chilliest and clearest in the northwest. And that's how the weather's shaping up overnight into tomorrow morning.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV, on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Defence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Defence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. Of course, we are celebrating the fabulous Platinum Jubilee for Her Majesty the Queen. And if you've just joined us, you've missed a lot, but don't worry, because it is now time for our Great British Debate this hour. I'm asking, is talk of ousting Boris disrespectful to the Queen? Now, with celebrations of the Platinum Jubilee, they're in full swing now. The Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has insisted all the focus should be on Her Royal Highness, rather than speculation about the Prime Minister's future. And at present, there are 28 Tory MPs who have called publicly for Prime Minister Boris Johnson to quit, where the actual number could be higher, as many Conservatives haven't actually publicly declared their letters to the 1922 Committee of Backbench MPs. But I want to ask whether it's really appropriate to be discussing the future of our country's leader at a time of national celebration. I mean, should they, right now, just give it a rest? I'm joined by Peter Edwards. He's the former editor of the Labour List. Peter, thank you for joining me. You're in your car there. You're not off to a Jubilee celebration, are you? Or you're stuck in traffic?
No, I'm parked up safely, but I've been to a Jubilee celebration, toasting the Queen and having a lovely day, I suspect, like much of the rest of the country.
Yeah, you could have been in one of those remote-controlled cars. That would have been fun. So, Peter, do you think it's reasonable for people to be discussing the Prime Minister's future at this particular time?
Yes, I think it is, as long as people speak respectfully. And bear in mind, first of all, you can't shut down democracy for a day or two. Yes, it's a special occasion. The Queen is old. She's 96, obviously. We want her to live as long as possible. There may not be another Jubilee, but you can't shut down democracy for 48 hours in any country. And secondly, what would be disrespectful? I think it's a P word again, Partygate. What would be disrespectful would be having a party in central government the night before the funeral of a member of the royal family. Sadly, we know that happened with the Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah, but hold on a sec. But he didn't go to that party. Just to stop you there, I appreciate that. But Boris didn't actually go to that party. He wasn't there, and that was done in his absence.
I didn't suggest Boris was at that party, but people working for the government that he leads attended that party, and that certainly meets the definition of disrespect.
But it's interesting that you talk about democracy. I mean, from what I'm seeing, it's like a one-side bashing of an individual and a desperate attempt to try and unseat somebody in a slightly undemocratic fashion, as far as I'm concerned. And then you mentioned Partygate, which there was Beergate. Keir Starmer, remember that? I mean, he had some beers. He said that it wasn't going to be something, and then it turned out that he said there were only 5 or 6 people. Then it turned out there were 30. Angela Rayner wasn't there, and then she was. I mean, they're all at it. But at this particular juncture, I mean, do you think they should just be quiet?
They're not all at it. Keir Starmer, first of all, he hasn't done anything wrong. Secondly, he's a lawyer and he's perfectly fit to be investigated. But thirdly, the Conservative government had 120 parties, not one. Labour's accused of having one. I don't think that took place. He said he was working. The Conservative government is accused of having 120 parties.
Now, hold on a sec. But something that happened, Keir Starmer, I mean, I'm not saying that he did, but he had COVID 6 times. I mean, he must have been around a lot of different people to be catching that. I don't know. Look, that's just... look, he got called out on the one party because somebody actually had a video and filmed them having the party. Otherwise, we would never have known about it.
He's not been fined. He wasn't caught out.
No, he has been caught out because he's caught on camera where he denied that there were more than 6 people there, and he also said that it was just an impromptu gathering when it turned out that it was actually on a memo, and then he said they went to work afterwards when there was nothing on the memo that said they did that at all.
I think it was impromptu to carry on working. We all know that when there's a by-election, all party leaders have their day planned. That's perfectly realistic. When you take time out from Westminster to go around the UK, you have your day planned. But if it comes down to a question of personal integrity, does anyone think Boris Johnson's going to win that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'd choose him over Keir Starmer. I mean, better the devil you know than the devil you don't, especially when you find out that one of them has had some sort of gathering. Then he's denied simple things like somebody like Angela Rayner wasn't there when she was. I mean, surely Angela Rayner could have stuck up and said, actually, Keir, you got it wrong. She didn't say anything. What's that about?
Well, I think that was a mistake. But bear in mind, 59% of voters believe Boris Johnson should resign over Partygate, and he has been fined. And Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner have not been fined.
Well, not yet, no. But it depends who you ask and which 59% you ask. But we'll move on from that, shall we? Because I don't think we're going to agree. But this whole talk of you said it's democratic and everything and all that, but surely it's a little bit disrespectful. Could they just not park it for a few days because nothing's going to happen in between with regard to it?
Well, that's a great question. And that, in fact, goes to the heart of the Conservative Party because of the unusual way in which their leaders are elected. And, of course, that's the thing that troubles me as a Democrat. And I'm sure you've spent time thinking about it as well, because were the Prime Minister to be ousted, that would not be by voters like me and you. It would be essentially by a group of Conservative backbenchers in Parliament. So we're a nation of about 60 million people, yet there's about 350 odd Conservative MPs who are going to decide the fate of the Prime Minister. And we saw this with Theresa May, where she won a confidence vote in Parliament with that very small group, but the pressure became unbearable and she resigned. But that's absolutely the quandary at the heart of British democracy. It's not like the US presidency, where once you're in for 4 years, other than a scandal or ill health. The Conservative Party could remove the elected Prime Minister whenever they wish. And I won't certainly get a say in that.
Well, I will. You and I will agree with that bit then, for sure, that it is a democracy, as you said at the start, and I don't think that them deciding is actually particularly democratic. But thank you so much, Peter. It's always good to talk to you. That's Peter Edwards. He's the former editor of the Labour List. Right, so today I'm asking, is talk of ousting Boris Johnson disrespectful to the Queen? Let's have a quick look at what you've been saying. Well, let's have a look. Elliot says, of course not. The Queen remains the Queen, whoever the Prime Minister may be. She's outlasted a fair number of them, and it would surprise no one if she outlasted the current incumbent too. That's quite good, actually. That's a good one. Carol said she didn't pick him as Prime Minister. The population did. It's their fault. Michael says, and it's damn well disrespectful to the electorate. Time these fair-weather MPs got their act together, got behind the Prime Minister and started sorting out the mess that we are in. Hear, hear, at last. Sense. Robert says, how is it disrespectful to the Queen? He's a politician. She has seen hundreds of them. This is true. This is true. But it's not disrespectful because the 70 years, right? The Jubilee. None of us living now probably see another monarch that will outlast the way she has. So I would say that for 2 days they could stop. But what do you think? I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. We are the People's Channel. You can also catch us on YouTube. Coming up, we'll continue our great British debate. And I'm asking, is talk of ousting Boris disrespectful to the Queen? You'll hear the thoughts of my panel, political editor to the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson, and also former Conservative advisor Claire Pearsall. But first, let's get your latest news headlines.
Anna, thank you. Good afternoon. The top stories. Buckingham Palace has confirmed the Queen will not attend the Epsom Derby tomorrow. Her Majesty is expected to watch the event on television at Windsor Castle. And the Archbishop of York has thanked the Queen today for staying the course during a service at St Paul's Cathedral. Members of the royal family, including Prince Charles and Camilla, were joined by dignitaries to honour the Queen and her 70-year reign. Prince William and Kate were also there, along with Prince Harry and Meghan, who appeared with the Windsors for the first time since moving to the States. Her Majesty missed the event after experiencing some discomfort yesterday and watched the service on television at home in Windsor Castle. The Archbishop had said the Queen was missed.
Your Majesty, we are sorry that you're not here with us this morning, but we are so glad that you are still in the saddle, and we are glad that there is still more to come.
Well, Ukraine's leader has pledged to continue defending his country as Russia's assault on its neighbour entered its 100th day. This afternoon, President Zelensky released a statement saying victory will be ours. That comes after UK intelligence shows Russia now controls more than 90% of Luhansk in the eastern part of Ukraine. The UK MOD is warning Moscow could have complete control of the region in the next 2 weeks. The chairman of ASDA says government plans to bring back imperial measurements are complete and utter nonsense. Lord Stuart Rose says the move would mean going backwards at a difficult time for business. The government says it's launched a consultation to ditch what it calls overbearing EU laws on the use of measurements like pounds and ounces. You're up to date on TV, online and on your radio via DAB+. You're with GB News. Nana Akua is here next.
Direct Bullion sponsors the Finance Report on GB News for gold and silver investment.
Let's get a quick snapshot of the markets then for you. The pound is 1.250 to the dollar. It is 1.166 to the euro. And the price of gold currently stands at £1,479 and 44 pence an ounce.
Direct Bullion sponsors the Finance Report on GB News, investments that matter.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV, on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation. We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
And the national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Good afternoon. It is 38 minutes after 5 o'clock. This is GB News on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. Now, let's get back to our Great British debate this hour. And I'm asking, is talk of ousting Boris Johnson disrespectful to the Queen? 28 Conservative MPs have publicly called on the Prime Minister to resign. One of the most steadfast critics of Boris Johnson from his own party, Tobias Ellwood, even decided to kick off the bank holiday weekend by saying that the UK should rejoin the EU single market. Cheek of it. But with the Jubilee supposed to be a time of national celebration to come together in appreciation of the Queen's reign, I want to ask whether it's disrespectful to speculate about the Prime Minister's future during her Platinum Jubilee. Let's see what my panel make of that. Joining me today is political editor for the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson, and also former Conservative advisor, Claire Pearsall. Right, so I'll come to you, Claire, because you're the Conservative on the panel.
Yeah.
You know, people, it's coming from inside the party, so they're eating themselves out from the inside out. Is it right they should be doing that now?
I don't think they are doing it now across a Platinum Jubilee weekend. I really
Well, they are. You heard what he said.
Tobias Ellwood.
Yeah, Tobias Ellwood already.
He did it. It was an extraordinary piece that he's written, and I don't quite understand why he felt the need to do that about rejoining the EU and the single market. I don't understand why he picked this moment and that particular subject, because Brexit has done, we have left, and we're not going to go and rejoin. So, I just think that was a really silly thing to do. But for the majority of them, they're not talking about it this weekend. When you look at it, no, they're not.
They have been talking about it. They've only started to be a bit quieter when they've realised that we're all getting a little bit... We're all thinking that nobody wants to see a party behaving like that. So even if you have an allegiance to the Conservative Party and you support them, you don't want to see them sort of internally combusting like this in a way at this time. I don't want to see that.
And unfortunately, the Conservative Party is extremely good at doing this. And we've seen it time after time that we get rid of our leaders quite quickly once we have decided that they're of no use. And it's messy and it's nasty and it's backstabbing. And it is just the way politics works, unfortunately. The Labour
Party...
Party...
It's the Conservative Party, that's how
well,
they work.
but it is. But the Labour Party don't quite deal with it, and they have a long, sort of drawn-out affair where they lose in the polls, they lose elections. Jeremy Corbyn remained as their leader for some time after
but they're not in power, though. They're not in power.
No, but
for
they
the party
wanted to be.
Yeah, but for the party that's in power, if they're doing this whilst they're in power, actually, as Peter said, in a way, they're overriding the democracy of the nation because we've decided to vote for that party with that leader. So even if they don't like their leader for whatever reason, they should really call a general election.
Well, MPs are not representatives, they're not delegates, they're representatives. So they're there to use their judgment. So all those MPs have been elected by us or not, and they're making a decision about the national leader, which I think is perfectly reasonable. On the question of disrespect to the Queen at this particular time, I doubt very much she would care. That, as we said earlier, she's non-political, therefore above politics. So what goes on in this kind of level wouldn't bother her. What I did find disrespectful today was the Prime Minister being booed.
Yeah, that is.
And it's I jeer at the Prime Minister in my newspaper every Sunday, but at an event like this, he is the national leader representing the nation, and I think that it is disrespectful then to start jeering him for completely different reasons. You've got to divorce things from the man himself and the position he holds, and today he was fulfilling the function of the position he holds.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's it, and I think it's and I agree with you, and I'm one of his biggest critics, but the Prime Minister was there as the leader of the government. He is the Prime Minister. You have to respect the office, even if you don't respect the individual in it. And I do think it's disrespectful. He was attending a service for Her Majesty the Queen. He wasn't there in a party political statement.
Yeah.
He was there, so I think it was really disrespectful to do that. I don't think anybody should be booed at going to an event like that at all.
Not even Harry and Meghan?
No, I don't, actually, because the Queen invited them. So the Queen wished for them to be there, and it's none of our business who she invites. Now, if we disagree with them, as we do, then that's fine. But to boo them for attending that event, no, I don't think we should.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to hear any booing, not because I have respect for the Queen, but at the same token, I don't want to watch the infighting of a political party during a time when everyone's trying to celebrate. We just want a little break. Do you not think that perhaps it comes across negatively the way the Conservative Party are currently behaving? Because they did talk about they are saying who's submitting letters. They've told us that 28 of them, people are coming in saying, Andrew Bridgen said something, others were saying something. We are in the middle of this wonderful celebration with the Queen. Why should they feel the need to speak about that now?
Well, I mean, as Claire said, they haven't actually done it over these 4 days. But, I mean, I do take the point that they were doing it right up until the Jubilee holiday started. It rather depends what you think is more important. I think that the Prime Minister has run his course. As a result of that, it would be quite right for the Conservative Party to now get rid of him. The problem for the Conservative Party is they're doing it all at the moment in a disorganised way. There's no kind of proper campaign going on to sort this out. And if they get the letters in by accident, we could find a situation where Boris Johnson wins the final vote. He will get the 180 MPs on his side. So, but I mean, the nation is quite clearly furious about Partygate.
Well, no, you say that, but
I'm not just doing the polls. I'm thinking about what MPs are finding on the doorstep. We've talked to so many Conservative MPs.
Where? In London?
No, these are Conservative MPs who came from the rest of the country, coming back to London, and what they were saying, this was happening during the local election campaign. They found on the doorstep, especially with traditional Tory voters, they were finding that the kind of remarks, and I heard it over and over again, was, "We like you," to the MP, "we don't like your leader, we will not vote for you until Boris Johnson is gone."
Well, I mean, I don't know, I think this is what you'd expect at this time in the elections anyway, these sort of council elections in the middle term. The middle term is...
The anger's deeper.
I don't happen to agree with you at all. I haven't been on the doorstep. I don't know, but I'm just going by what I'm hearing when I'm around. And what I'm hearing is that people are sick and tired of the Boris bashing. They're actually starting to feel sorry for him. They've had enough of this, and they'd like them to get on with the dealing of the cost of living crisis. We don't want to hang around for 6 weeks while they decide who's going to be the leader. And then other people are actually concerned that if we do get rid of Boris, the person who replaces them will be somebody like Tobias Ellwood, or somebody who's got the same view as Tobias Ellwood, which is the view that they want to rejoin the EU.
I think that's gone. No, it's gone.
But
Brexit's done and dusted.
Brexit is done and dusted, but why would he open his mouth like that? And therefore...
He made a mistake. He shouldn't have done any...
I'm afraid not.
And he's been criticised by a number of his colleagues for doing so.
Yeah, but that still doesn't wash, does it?
Well, it was a ridiculous thing to say, quite honestly.
Well, you can see why now. What happens is people think, whoa, hang on a minute.
But it won't help the cause of getting rid of Boris Johnson. I don't think this whole thing has got anything to do with Brexit. I'm a Remainer. I accept I lost the argument. Brexit is over. Let's get on with it. Let's make the best of it now we are where we are. And I don't think any really serious politician thinks it's any other way.
Well, Tobias Ellwood probably considers himself a serious politician. What do you think, Claire?
I think that there is anger on the doorstep, and I've been out on the doorstep, so I can attest to that. But I also think that the public are really sick and tired of constant infighting. And I think you're right. Trust in politics as a whole and trust in politicians has gone right down. And it's incumbent upon all of us who work in that place, who are elected councillors, to put a much better face on this. I look after residents in my village, but I've had comments made to me saying, well, I voted for Brexit, I voted for the Prime Minister in 2019, I've always voted Conservative. This is it for me. I'm not going to do it again. And that was one that I had this week.
And who have they said they'll go for instead?
They won't vote.
Well, exactly.
And I think that this is the real problem that you're going to get, is a disconnect now between the electorate and anybody in Westminster. The whole relationship is now soured. And I don't think it matters whether you're a Labour politician, a Conservative, a Green, a Lib Dem. I think that relationship is now soured, and it is our fault.
Well, yes, I would say it definitely is the fault of the politicians, but as ever, this show is nothing without you and your views. Let's welcome our great British voice, your opportunity to be on the show. Tell us what you think about what we're discussing. Let's go over to... Where should we go? Should we go to Snowdonia? Yes, let's go to Snowdonia. Lovely. In Wales, let's have a chat with Gareth Wynne-Jones. Gareth, right, what do you reckon? Is it disrespectful for all this talk about ousting Boris in the midst of this wonderful Jubilee celebration for the Queen?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm not a royalist, but I'm just tired of all these politicians. I'll be totally honest with you. We're going round in circles. Everybody's sticking knives in each other's backs. Doesn't matter what political party you're in. You know, the real people are struggling to pay bills and put food on the table. It's about time this country started to get politicians that aren't there just for this gravy train. We need some real people that have got some bloody balls that we can go forward with, because at this moment in time it's very, very frustrating for so many of us ordinary people that are on the ground listening to this. It's tiring and it's not helping us as a nation. Worldwide, people must be laughing at us, looking what's happening, you know, with everything across the board. It's a joke. Let's get Parliament, let's get Welsh Government as well, and get everybody working together to sort this food and energy crisis so people can pay their bills and start smiling and enjoying what we've got in this beautiful country.
Gareth, you couldn't have put it more succinctly, apart from the swearing, which we apologise for.
Sorry,
Gareth,
I apologise for the swearing.
That's all right. That's Gareth Wynne-Jones. He's there in Snowdonia, in Wales. You see, that's the thing, isn't it? Agreed. Do you agree with what he said there?
I can see that people are just fed up.
Yeah, we are fed up.
I can see why they're fed up. I do think the most important thing, though, is to get rid of this Prime Minister so we can start again.
No. We don't want to start again. We don't want to start again. But the devil, you know, the devil, we don't want to start again. It'll be the whole cycle again for 6 weeks. Right, today, we're asking, is talk of ousting Boris disrespectful to the Queen? Lots of you have been getting in touch with your views. Let's see what they've been saying. Ian says Boris is probably the best liability we've got. Yeah, he's got a point there. I mean, he's a liability, but he's the best one out of all of them. Annie says more disrespectful than being found to have illegally prorogued Parliament. I think a couple of Prime Ministers have done that, though. He's not on his own with that one. Yvonne says, Nana, they are so desperate to get rid of Boris that they're willing to stoop so low. Isn't it? I'm just sick of it. I'm with you. Honestly, I've just had enough of it. Stuart says, just get on with running the UK. No one cares about Partygate, apart from Labour. Dennis says, as she sat alone saying goodbye to her soulmate, there were parties going on later tonight. How can you support that? Look, I don't support that at all. But lots of places had little festivities to try and get the nation feeling a bit happy about themselves. I mean, if even members of... You saw things from the NHS where people were posting celebrations or trying to have a good time. I'm afraid I can't disrespect that. And she sat alone. She followed the rules. Some of us followed the rules. Some of us didn't. Some of us broke them by accident. Right now, there's a poll-up throughout the show asking, is talk of ousting Boris disrespectful to the Queen? Currently, 54% of you say yes, 46% of you say no. Wow. Right, well, let's talk Jubilee. Bunting is being put up for sale for as high as £1,000 per string as traders cash in on extremely high national demand for decorations over the weekend. And a Mirror exclusive revealed a seller was asking £1,000 for a 20-foot piece of plastic bunting featuring 12 flags with the Queen's face. Right, it is, of course, we are in the midst of our quick-fire quiz. Is this entrepreneurial or exploitation? I'm going to ask my fabulous panel, Claire Pearsall and Nigel Nelson. Start with you, Claire. What do you think? Bunting, a grand?
I mean, I do think that's outrageous. I always like the entrepreneurial spirit, and I think the laws of supply and demand will put prices up. But I do think that is ridiculous. £1,000 for some bunting, I would expect that to be gold and encrusted in diamonds for that price. So, yes, I like the entrepreneurial spirit, but not that price.
Nigel.
Outrageous. I mean, really outrageous. No, I mean, that you can't do things like that. That's just sheer naked profiteering.
Not on. Right, let's move on. Another one. And this one is about a so-called pollen bomb that struck this weekend. And that's what I thought it was. I'm going. It's almost as if something's tickling my nose constantly. Excuse me. In what will be bad news for hay fever sufferers, Brits across the UK will all be subjected to high levels of pollen over the bank holiday. So I'm going to ask, Nigel, do you suffer with hay fever?
I do, I'm afraid, yeah. I can feel my nose tickling already.
Mine is tickling. Claire?
Yes, I do. I've been sneezing all morning and my nose is tickling and my eyes are really quite sore.
Do you know the itchy eye thing? When you get the itchy eyes, though, you just want to go for it.
You do, and it's awful. And I've got makeup on. It's going everywhere. It's horrendous. And you look puffy and it's awful.
But it feels so good at the time. And then you sort of realise the aftermath. It's not great, is it? Yeah. But I'm hoping that, I can sort of sort out all the pollen thing this year, because it's not, What's your remedy?
I take antihistamines and you put just cold compresses. So, just a cold flannel over your eyes does help.
Nigel,
I don't have a remedy. I just sneeze my way through it.
Yeah, it's not nice. Yeah,
no.
Yeah, well, my remedy is just Vaseline in the nostrils, because what it is, my nose is really, if you can notice that, I've got really large nostrils, you see. And what it is, it just comes straight in. Just comes straight in. There's no sort of... So I have to put some Vaseline.
Does it work, the Vaseline?
Yeah, because what it does is it gets caught in the Vaseline.
And local honey is meant to help as well. The honey from the area that you're from is meant to help stop the hay fever.
Sure. What about learning here?
Try that out, Nigel. Right. Well, I've got to tell you that on the way, it's Dubes & Co. with Alistair Stewart, who's here in the studio. Alistair, it's great to see you. What have you got coming up?
Well, Nana, great to have the chance to talk to you, and I've been enjoying your programme. We're kind of taking a slight pause. 70 years, Platinum Jubilee, but what a 70-year period, from upheaval and redesign of the United Kingdom and of Europe, the world, technological revolution that makes the Industrial Revolution itself look like a kind of dress rehearsal, climate change, all the rest of it. Her Majesty has been there from start to finish, overseen much of it, engaged with a lot of it, and kind of risen above some of it as well. But does all of that leave her as being the greatest Queen ever? I'll be discussing that with David Starkey, Philip Kisley and Ingrid Seward, people who know more about the monarchy and the Queen than you can shake a copy of Debrett's Peerage at.
Wonderful, wonderful. Alistair, it sounds like a must for you. Must join him. Please do. He's on the way next. Thank you so much, Alistair. Right, well, on today's show, we've been asking, now I've talked about that pollen bomb, I'm now allowed to do that. On today's show, we've been asking, is talk of ousting Boris disrespectful to the Queen? According to our Twitter poll, well, it hasn't changed since the last... Oh, it has, 1%. Excuse me. 55% of you say yes, Only 45% of you say no. Well, what are you doing then, guys? Claire and Nigel, for this wonderful Jubilee. Are you got anything exciting planned?
Not really, because you're working tomorrow.
I'm working. I'll be working through the Jubilee and have to work Saturdays because I work for a Sunday paper.
Oh, that's nice.
So therefore, I've got to do the shopping and look after the son.
Well, I've got to say, it sounds really exciting. I've got a street party, even though I'm working. I'm going to have more fun than you. Right, I'm going to say thank you so much to my fabulous panel. Former Conservative advisor, Claire Pearsall. Thank you so much, Claire. Thank you very much. And also political editor of the Sunday Mirror and Sunday People, Nigel Nelson. And as ever, thank you to you at home for joining me. But don't go anywhere, because tomorrow I'll be back for more fabulous Jubilee antics. On the way, though, of course, the fabulous Alistair Stewart. I'll be back tomorrow at 4.
We're looking ahead to this evening's weather, and there is some warm sunshine on offer for some of us, but showers affecting other parts. Let's look at the detail. Some of those showers then affecting the spine of the southwest of England. Coastal areas seeing decent spells in the sunshine. It will feel warm inland. Much of the southeast of England, in fact, should be dry, bright and warm, although a few showers may be encroaching into Kent and Sussex. A mixture of sunny spells and showers across Wales this evening. Some of those showers across mid and North Wales could be heavy and thundery. A few showers also likely across parts of the Midlands today, but equally there will be a bit of evening sunshine as well. Temperatures typically in the mid-teens, light winds expected there too. Yorkshire and North East England look to be predominantly dry this evening, with the best of the sunshine in the west. North Sea coasts a little cloudier, and it will feel cool with an onshore breeze. So then the east coast of Scotland, prone to cloud drifting in off the North Sea, but much of the central belt should enjoy some lovely sunshine during the evening. And most of today's showers across Northern Ireland should have faded away by this evening.